Hi guys, my name is Teresa. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I had 2 videos up but I took them down. Sorry for the camera quality. I know I look like paper. I'm sorry. I don't have a camcorder, I just have my laptop's webcam. But it is what it is. Today I wanted to talk about what I was recently diagnosed with and what it is, and kind of my journey to get diagnosed. So, for as long as I can remember, from the very, very beginning, I always had a very vivid imagination. And it wasn't vivid to the point where, like, oh, I'm gonna pretend like I'm a fairy princess today. Like, no. It was really, really detailed plots and characters and reenacting things and talking to people that weren't there. I looked crazy from an early age. Let's just put it that way. I looked insane. But no one could figure out why I did it. And I have, I have report cards from as early as 1st grade saying, yeah, Teresa's not doing her work, she's kind of staring off into outer space, please see a doctor and figure out what is wrong with this child. And for me, it was an escape because I was never particularly good at math. I could read, but that was about it. That's all I could really do, and I still have trouble with math, and I'm still pretty good at reading, but that's the extent of what I could do in elementary school. I never really had the best of friends. I was not a particularly social child. I would just, whenever we had a free time or whenever we had, just like sit here, here's the assignment, do it type of situation, I would just stare out the window and daydream that I was somewhere else or I was someone else. And that was a coping mechanism for me. And to me, that was like, wow, I don't have to be where I'm at. I can have an out-of-body experience, pretty much. And it became not really addictive, but by 5th grade, I was wanting to be more in my room than I was with actual people. And that was difficult for people to understand, and it's still difficult for people to understand. But like when I was home, my mother and my stepfather couldn't understand why I was in my room and I would forget things and I would not respond to my name sometimes. Like, it wasn't more so that like I didn't hear them, or I would literally forget my name was my name. I would think my name was Hella or some other thing because I would daydream so much that I became the person I was daydreaming I was. And that's why last year, in the middle of last year, I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, because they thought that because I thought I was these different people and my personality would change so much, I was having all of the same symptoms of dissociative identity disorder. But I didn't have that disorder. I didn't have that. And freshman year I was diagnosed as schizophrenic. And after that, it became more convoluted and different than what other people with schizophrenia had. Like, they all thought that what they were seeing, what they were hallucinating, was real. I knew what I was seeing wasn't real. I knew it was in my head. That's why I was able to keep it hidden, and nobody knew that I was seeing this stuff except for me. And freshman year was a really difficult year for me because of the bullying, and things going on at home and things that were going on in my head. That was a really, really low point for me. That was the lowest I've ever been in my life. And who's ever going through, like, stuff that I went through, get help immediately, because you need it. But, so, freshman year, all the way up to junior year, I was diagnosed as schizophrenic, and I took medication for schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and all this other stuff. But because maladaptive daydreaming disorder isn't recognized as an actual disorder yet, it's more of a construct, it's a theory that hasn't really been accepted by a lot of doctors yet. So they didn't want to diagnose me as maladaptive daydreaming because it's not accepted yet. Just like 10 years ago, dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, was something that doctors kind of laughed at. They were like, no, that's all in your head, what are you talking about? But then again, like, way back in the 90s, homosexuality was viewed the same way. So as we progress, doctors are starting to see that it's not all in a person's head. They're actually thinking it's there, and they know what they're seeing is there, or it's in their head. Just things like that. And so once I hit junior year, I started going through more tests, and I switched therapists because I thought that the one I had wasn't helping me as much as I thought I needed to be helped. I was still really depressed. I was still really anxious, and I knew I didn't have schizophrenia at that point. I was like, no, that's not what this is. I had done enough research, met enough people, went to enough doctors, and done enough tests to realize I have something wrong with me, just not that. So I switched therapists, one that was closer to me, and she did more tests, and she's like, well, when you go into your head, what happens? Do you think that you are you? And I was like, no, not often. I have, different characters I pretend to be, or so I don't have to be myself. And from that, I kind of explained what happens inside my head. This world I've created really is. And she was like, oh, that sounds like dissociative identity disorder. And so I went through the test. She showed me to a few other doctors to get another opinion, and they all came to the same conclusion. And I was pretty happy with that conclusion. For a lot of people with dissociative identity disorder, they have this world inside their head where these alters or different personalities live. I fit that. I had different people I pretended to be, so I fit that criteria. I had alters who had their own views and opinions and personalities, and they all did specific things to help me. Like, if my mother or my stepfather were belittling me, Maisie would come out. Maisie is this character I created based off of Maze from Lucifer. She's very aggressive. She's very, like, fuck you type personality, and that's what I would need in that moment to feel safe and to secure myself. And if I needed to be taken care of, or I needed to be babied, because I never really was taken care of as a kid, I had to raise myself. I would become Baby Girl, which is this 4-year-old like little character I made where I'm just babied and taken care of by whoever wanted to do that, mainly myself. And that's just how my life was. And I went through the entirety of my senior year battling the fact that I had DID and an eating disorder and depression and anxiety and this built up pent-up rage and anger towards these people that were bullying me because they didn't believe me, which hurt so much because I had given no one at that school reason to doubt me. And they had been doing that since I went to that school district, which shall not be named, for privacy reasons, and I don't want to get sued. The feeling of not getting sued is a great feeling. So, since 6th grade, I had been bullied by, like, the same people, so I was kind of used to it, and, you know, people came and went. A girl that bullied me pretty hard freshman year didn't really bully me, but was kind of on the opposing team, was actually one of my closest friends now. A guy that I thought hated me throughout the entirety of school, I'm dating now, so growth is a wonderful thing, I guess. But it was the same people over and over again who were bullying me, and they didn't think that I was telling the truth about these things because of where I lived and how my living situation was. To which I would reply, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what is going on in the world around me. You don't understand what's happening in my family, so why do you think I'm lying about these things when I've explained it time and time again? I've given you every ounce of proof that I had. Why don't you believe me? And they just never did. And so I kind of gave up by, like, sophomore year. So at that point I'd been dealing with it for 5 years, and I was kind of like, if you're not going to believe me now, what makes me think that you're going to believe me in, like, a month? Because one thing that they didn't believe, and I don't think they believed it at all, in any way, shape, or form, my mother was disowned because she had a child before she got married, and that was my older sister, Jennifer, who was given up for adoption. I've never met her. I don't know where she's at. And I have 2 stepsisters, Felicia and Ashley, and especially since when I first said, hey, I have a stepsister named Felicia, the meme came out, I forget the meme, but it was like, I don't even remember, but it was something about the name Felicia. It was goodbye Felicia, and everyone was like, wow, this meme comes out and now you have a stepsister named Felicia? Seems a little fishy. And I never understood it. I never understood why they didn't believe me. I was like, I have a stepsister named Felicia. Like, that's just how it is. I can't help the meme. It just came up in conversation. And, sorry if this video is a train wreck at this point. But, like, things like that kind of amplified the maladaptive daydreaming. That's where I'm kind of going with this. It's not just me ranting and raving. I have a point to make. So, because of the bullying and the fact that people didn't believe what I was saying, and I wanted to be somewhere else, basically, and my head was like, okay, you want to be somewhere else? Let me put you somewhere else that you are comfortable at being whoever you want to be. There is no limits to what the human mind can do. The human mind is a beautiful thing. And just like with dissociative identity disorder, the brain notices that the body is in danger of itself or other people and says, okay, here's a coping mechanism for you so you don't have to suffer this anymore. And this is kind of how it was throughout my entire childhood, and I still daydream. I still do it. I'm doing it now as I speak. It's something I can never turn off. It doesn't turn off until I fall asleep, and it comes back on when I wake up. And that's the blunt force of it. Tell me what you guys want to know in, the next video. I think I'm going to do a story time for the next video, because I just don't have enough time. This video is already 16 minutes long, and I don't have enough time to tell everything about everything. But yeah, I think, next video will be story time from band. Marching band stories from the marching band dropout. So, I don't really know how to end this. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. I may make it tonight or later, so if I'm wearing the same outfit, it's fine. It's just a few hours or a few minutes later. Talk to you guys next time.